earlier post that I made, slaying the dragon. You always hear us talking about fighting the dragon, slaying the dragon. What does this mean? They training the monkey mind of the human, the real organic earthborn human. The imposter, it doesn't work. They don't have a monkey mind, they have a serpent mind. So they take all of the stuff that we do, all of our wisdom teachings, and they program our wisdom teachings into something that they call an ego, a false self. Then they use mysticism to put the true self to sleep. Well, the women have contingencies for earth to wake warriors up in times of crisis, as opposed to fathers and husbands. So we go through cycles because of this. And it's always somebody trying to conquer the great mother. You can equate her to Mother Earth, or you can call her the Noon, the dismal abyss, or the infinite waters, right? And so the infinite waters in Egypt is called the Noon. And this is the source of all creation and all existence. And this is what is understood from a westernized translation of what the story is telling you in Egypt. It's telling you that everything you see is in a great uterus. The darkness you see is the triple dark of a great uterus. We are actually in this moment gestating in the great creator, like a pregnant woman gestating a baby. There's no difference. The only difference is we oscillate between two different forces. And the goal is to balance the two forces out in order that anything that doesn't have the right field or energy field can't stay, right? So in order for them to adjust it where they can vibrate at a lower vibration and remain here, and so that they can keep this dark artificial matter matrix that they call an ego, a spirit, in place, they program you to be third dimensional minded. And they first done this shooting a atomic reactor off between third and fourth field resonance. That means that the dimensions climb up like a slinky if you hold it and let it stretch out. And from there, when it all lines up, it's like a spiraling up. When they exploded it that caused two of the slinky bands to stick together. So your spirit body and your physical body can be interrupted by what they call the ego, the false self. The manufactured thing that they call espiritus. That thing that they said, and God breathed the breath of life into man, an animatrix. He animated something that wasn't already animated. And he called himself a god when he done it. Okay, we got you. The women always have a contingency because they are the wisest of all. The men are the warriors and they protect the women. So you got kings that govern over regions, and those kings that govern over the regions has a prime queen. She the baddest motherfucker ever born because she always 100% bump straight. And he the baddest motherfucker on the flip side because he the only other motherfucker that 100% always bump straight. So now, I got a song that say, now my mama told me to beware and watch for snakes. She said they look like they real, but their ass be fake. So I can cut the grass to map my own fate. I stay on top of the game, never taking a break. Reptiles will sliver, crawl like a river. Be thankful for the wisdom my mothers be giving to keep the serpents inside of the children. They say this is life, nigga, but this ain't living, right? And so we get our backs against the wall and we need to get out. So the women set up a network of stars in the sky. As above, so below. So you look at the sky and there's a map, but you don't know it's a map. How do you know how do you tell that the stars is a map? Because they've been telling you for years, you use the stars to navigate. How in the hell are you going to use the stars to navigate if it's not a map? As above, so below. You have to read the reflection. In other words, a sacred union has to take place where the gods, or the sky, and the earth are in harmony. This is symbolic of a perfectly balanced relationship between a man and a woman. Two motherfuckers that always bump straight. Been approved, stamped and sealed by many masters. And then he has to prove himself, and then they can redeem all of the rest of the royal families, which is the true indigenous native bloods of the earth. The Holy Grail is true humans of earth. Everything that look human, not human. I've been telling y'all that. Everything that look and act righteous ain't righteous. Some of these things are computer programmed images on an ego frame stuck between you and your spirit in the fourth dimension. The only thing that's wrong is they only got a limited amount of time. Why? Because as the spiral gets past where it's stuck at, that's what caused time, it moves into a higher vibratory rate. This thing that they call the ego cannot vibrate higher than third dimensional resonance. So when you move into the fifth dimension, your true form begins to awaken, and this artificial framework, this artificial soul called a spirit or ego that they put in you, that's designed to never let you wake up, never let you out of the trap. So they in CERN, they was trying to do it again. They wanted to now collapse another ring, Lord of the Rings. If they can collapse another ring, that would create what they call a tower moment, or the Dark Tower. They've been telling you all along what they're doing. Now, the only thing is, you can't fool the wise man, right? Osho said, no society wants you to become wise, because if you are wise, you cannot be oppressed. Got it? Now, how do you make a child wise? Because if you discover it, you smart, but you might not be wise. So we got to have a system in place to make us thankful for the wisdom our mothers be given. Women are pure, intuitive wisdom that can see through the veil of the ego if she always bumps straight. The problem is, the rape campaign is designed to keep her in the lower vibratory, low left bump. They keep her stuck on the B. Bitch. They keep her stuck on the B. Bitch. Right? Now, sometimes you got a straight shooter, and they can bump so hard left, you will swear they stuck on the B. She a bitch. But she ain't. She's just a master of the left bump. Strategic master. Know how to bump you left at the right time in order to cause an effect. So, the bitch come in and using seductive tactics, ease her little fangs like a serpent in the heart. They call this the thorns of the rose. So now we're looking at the War of the Roses, because the whole goal is to keep the roses, right? Keep the roses away from the guy. See, the women is supposed to give men roses. It's symbolic. But it's symbolic because it reminds us of something. You got to flip the mirror. The roses, God gave a woman the rose in the physical to represent the rose piercing his heart with the thorns in order to allow him to see through the veil. What's the veil? It's the ego. It conceals the wisdom of the mother from the son. Right? This is what they call the murder of Hiram Abiff, the widow's son. Because the only way that he can see through the veil, he can't be in the same mental framework as the rest of the men that's programmed by the ego that they call the spirit. That's a replica of the soul. It's Portia, you can post the receipts in the comment. The spirit soul separate idea. Now they tell you about the beings of the light and the lesser light. We are the true light that created the light in the light. From the darkness of the light came the light out of the darkness. It's an in-out oscillation, right? And from there, we can control the light. The good thing about light is light can be reflected and light can be condensed. And everybody with a magnifying glass, when they was in elementary, used it to concentrate the rays of the sun to burn something. Now the sun hot enough to burn something already. Why it ain't burning us? Because the rays, by the time they get here, are spread out so far, they are ineffective at incinerating Earth. Right? So I ain't gonna do them on invites. So from there, this is what we get. Right? We get a situation where this spirit being or this imposter, invader actually, because they also come from the other side of the true light. Remember, an oscillation, a back and forth. Remember the lights on the front of the kit car. All right, so this oscillation or this back and forth of the light rays reflect and refract. And in science, you learn how to create something called a laser, which is nothing more than condensed light rays using a series of magnifying glass and reflectors to condense the light to such a high density that it can burn something. And this is how you create what you call a Higgs boson. It's a third dimensional light form, creates something called a density. That's the God particle. And that was, when they discovered that, is when they knew they fucking lost. They had to expose it now, because that was the grand secret. The Higgs boson is no different than any other ray of light. The only difference is when you have the ego locked in place, you can't really see through the dark. So you need what they call night vision. So they make infrared light vision spectacles or goggles, right? So the infrared is the hottest laser light collaboration they could produce. So that's the infrared spectrum. IN for red. See? Now, if you really look at it, they're telling you a secret in there. But I'm not going to go all off into that. I want to get back to the monkey man. Okay, now, so the women of Earth, what they call the great queens of the 50 kingdoms, and all over the earth. Now, you got some kingdoms that have under kingdoms, where they have lesser kings. But altogether, it's the great Earth Empire. The baddest motherfuckers in creation, in any galactic form, has been the Earth being. They know what you are because they half of that. And it was a trick from the beginning. And she always knew what they had planned. So she put in a contingency so that she can send one of her sons, a special one, to come in and clean this shit up right now. So they say he was going to be the king of the monkeys. What the fuck do that mean? A man that's the king of monkeys? That don't make no sense. This is the problem. The king of the monkeys is this. All primates are closely related. Some primates, their DNA has been altered deliberately. And the thing about the primates is they watch for snakes in the grass because they don't want nothing to happen to their children. Now, I posted yesterday, and I'm going to post another one today of a snake that ate a child. And watch the reaction of the monkeys. The monkey mind, legendary, is erratic, unfocused, and all over the place, right? Now, how do you get a monkey mind to get its focus? Now, this is the story of Sun Wukong's journey to the West to collect the Buddhist scrolls. That's symbolic of what we call our Islamic pilgrimage to the East, over here. So the 2 points meet in the middle at the Kaaba. The 2 points meet in the middle at the Kaaba. And from the Kaaba, you draw 2 lines up and down, north and south, in order to find out frame of reference. So now, how do I know? The black stone on the Kaaba is in a silver dish on a black box. Now, if you know what a black box is, you will know that the black box record all of the data, right? So that's why all Muslims are required to make pilgrimage to look into the black box, which is the great reflection of the great uterus. And what do you see? Baphomet. The refraction of light in the black stone makes the looker who's looking into it believe that he's seeing a man with goat horns. I posted that a few weeks ago. The receipt is there. This man with the goat horns is a symbol of physics. It's called the observer effect. In other words, think outside the box. Because when you're in the box, you can't see. Because it's dark inside. There are no lights in the Kaaba. When you in, so you got to think outside the box. So the black stones are on the outside of the box. But the black stone used to be a different thing. They said it was a meteor that fell from the sky and it turned black from the sins of the world. Bullshit. The black stone was a melted down figure of the great mother that they called in the Middle East Allat. A-L-L-A-T. Which, you know, is now A-L-L-A-H. What do that mean? That means that somebody flipped. Somebody flipped something. They turned something backwards. In other words, they took the box and flipped it in on itself. In other words, they call that the folding in of time and space. Takes you back to what I told you about them trying to collapse the 5th dimension in on the 3rd to trap you for eternity. Because then the loop will stay there. The opportunity will exist, but the loop will stay there. So I posted again, this is a repeat, about the thing disappearing. It was some kind of game that it's posted yesterday. This receipt is there. But it showed you what they was doing in CERN by mirror effect. And that it was unsuccessful, as I told him it would be. Thanks, Jasmine. You see it, Portia? Panther reference. Black Panther. Angela Bassett played the mother. Bast. Bast is the great mother cat. It's taking us to the priest reference. Because the Black Panther is the leopard. The leopard is the priest. So she's talking about the woman warrior. that reflect the man priest. So the woman word called forth the man priest. So the man can't leave the cave as a priest until it's time to test some shit up. So they say that the MMA 1313 Alpha, Queen, there's one. So they tell me that masters of the martial arts, the great Bodhidharma schools, don't stand a chance in this new era. Well, that was one of the things that we had to convince them to do. So one of the last things that the Monkey King had to do was to unleash all his monkeys. Now the post I had to make at 10:10 that preceded this video showed me the green light. Right? It showed me the green light to hit the kill switch. Because I was watching the serpent. The wise serpent. The wise serpent